So today I want to show you how to finish the tree skirt. And the last thing you have to do is put on the seam binding. And to make things even easier, I just went ahead and used this double fold bias tape, and it's quilt binding. And it comes at the store prepackaged for you. And what you're going to need for this project is two individual rolls or packages that measure 3 yards. And make sure you get the double fold bias tape because we're going to be unfolding and pinning it here. But what you want to do here is just give yourself a nice little amount to work with to begin with. They come on these nice little cardboard spools. But what you're going to do is unfold the bias tape. And you can see it unfolds once and unfolds again. Double fold bias tape. But what you're going to do is give yourself, about 6 inches or so of leeway at the beginning. And just go ahead and unfold all the way one edge. And what you're going to do is pin this raw edge right here to the velvet, measuring right along or pinning right along the edge. And then just go ahead and continue on pinning. And what you want to do when you come to an angle like this is go ahead and bring your seam binding tape, your bias tape, all the way to the end. And you're going to pin it right at this point right here. And then we're going to bring it back. And to kind of make an angle fold, hold it with your finger. And then replace that with a pin. So you see how nice? And then what you're going to do is just continue on all the way around the edge. What I'm going to do is just go ahead and set up my sewing machine and show you how to sew this up. Okay, so I'm all ready to attach my bias binding. And so what I've gone ahead and done is just set up my sewing machine, and I'm using this clear quilting table, which makes it really nice, gives you a lot of extra stabilization, and makes it really easy to put together big projects like this. And what I'm going to do is you can see these nice fold lines in the bias tape already pressed professionally in there from being packaged so long. So what I'm going to do is just stitch right to the right of that fold line all the way around. And what I'm going to do is back stitch here because you definitely don't want those seams to come out. And pulling those pins out. Now as you come up to this angle, you'll see that the folds match up at some point. So what you're going to do is sew right along to the fold to the point where it matches up. And the line is coming from right here, and it matches up with this line right here. So I'm going to sew right there. Alright, now drop down your needle. It's really important to have that needle down function on, and pivot. And go ahead and continue sewing. And so now what you're going to do is continue pinning on around the length of the entire quilted tree skirt. Okay, so I finished pinning and sewing all the way around, and now as I come to the point where the two ends of the bias tape are going to meet, what I want to do, and you can see I've already started pinning, is take one of the ends and just take it and fold it into a nice clean triangle edge, just like that. And I'm just going to use a pin to help me here. Keep this into a triangle. And what I'm going to do is continue pinning this right down to the edge. just as before, right up until that triangle part. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and lay this right over top. Making sure that it's all opened up so it looks like it'll make sense. And what this is doing is going to give us a nice continuous edge look without having to do any of the math. And so you can see, well, I'll sew this down so you can see what it'll look like. And so just go ahead and pin, 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 and just sew it up. Back stitch at the end, and I've actually been finding that it's really nice to keep these pins in as you're sewing the bias binding to the velvet. Just make sure you sew very slowly when you're sewing over them, and don't forget to remove them. But now you can see how this is going to come over and give us a nice angled edge when we fold it over. So now what you do, starting at the beginning, and I'll just take my little glue stick and my pins. So now you have your whole Christmas tree skirt, and the bias tape is all attached to one side. So what we're going to do now is take it and fold it over. And something you can do, if you wish, is use a glue stick on this edge that's going to be folded over cleanly onto the back. Just a little bit of glue stick here will help you. So just fold it over and stick it down. And then if you want, you can use a pin to really secure it in. Just don't drop your whole pin cushion like I just did. So now what I'm going to do is go over to my machine and using the edge of my presser foot as a guide, I'm going to just sew a nice, and the edge of the white bias tape, I'm just going to follow along and sew down, tack down finally, back stitch at the beginning and the end. But now what this is doing is securing not only the top, but it's also catching the back. And that glue stick is really helping us to make sure that we catch the back. Back stitching at the beginning and the end of their seam. But you're just going to go ahead and continue all the way around, and this tacks down the back just beautifully. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to finish sewing this together, and I'll show you how it looks when it's all done.